Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast for episode 73. Today, we are going to discuss why your current hiring process may need to disrupt itself. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm, the founder of the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy, where we are on a mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year. And P.S., we are on track to achieve our goal, which lights my soul up like you have no idea. But this goal does not come without its challenges. And today, I think it's important for us to address a very timely issue related to hiring team. Listen, there is currently a business trauma happening in the field of staffing aesthetic practices. Frankly, all businesses are impacted right now for that matter. And I was listening to a recent podcast from a leadership coach I have a lot of respect for. Her name is Chris Plackey. Go follow her if you don't. She talked about the war on premium talent. And I so related to this phenomenon that is sweeping over great practices across the nation. Essentially, the pandemic and really the nuances related to employment of essential team members has left many business owners in a tough spot. Here's the thing. The supply and demand for minimum and medium wage workers is completely out of whack. Many businesses are not only open back up and in full capacity, but also really looking to make up for lost time, income, and vitality that was lost during the pandemic. Businesses are hiring. There's a booming demand for incredible jobs. They are available. But it seems as if the people to supply those positions are in rare availability. Many folks who have been home for a year or more are really starting to think about what it means to go back to work. What that essentially means is their core motivations may have shifted significantly. Not to mention, minimum wage workers are demanding higher pay to really align with supplemental stimulus income over the past year plus. So here lies a real dilemma for business owners. The question is, do I reactively pay more for a minimum or medium wage employee, or do I reevaluate my business model and pivot my strategy to ride it out during this hiring trauma period? And the answer to that question is truly dependent upon the business, its goals, its owner, and its circumstances. But I wanted to open up this conversation to stimulate some thought around how you might approach this dilemma if you're facing similar challenges. First of all, we need to understand why we actually hire people. Right about now, you might feel like you need some help, right? But leader, why do we hire people? To help us or to deliver a result? Now more than ever, it's so important to understand what key objectives that employee is being hired to achieve and what the value of that result is to your company. So this is really where some strategic thinking time comes in, okay? So number one, it's time to get clear on your objectives. If what this employee is needing to be paid will result in a 4x profit for your business, it might be a good time to hire or hire up. We have a client who started hiring LVNs this year to run her front desk, and she was actually able to offboard a significant amount of clinical communication, administrative work, and really giving them more responsibility while training them on other support functions. So let's say you run through this exercise and you uncover that the employee results are not, in fact, 4x profit producing. Can you build a runway that would allow them to take on more responsibilities that would result in a stronger financial impact over time? So in this situation, we're really looking at the longevity of the business and its strategic growth. And if there's an employee that is the right fit, could you build that runway for them? Could you build that plan for them to be potentially able to produce that 4x profit for you in a short period of time? If the answer is still no, perhaps it's time to ask yourself, are the decisions I've committed to in my business realistic right now? Instead of jumping to hire, could it be time for a strategic pivot? Perhaps the business needs to slow down or restructure to protect its profitability, its growth plan, and maybe your sanity. This is called being a CEO leader. Get creative. Only you have these answers, but I do know that good employees haven't just disappeared. Core motivations have generally shifted, and your ability to hire great people may in fact be directly related to your imagination, creativity, and strategic planning. Could it be necessary to adjust headcount or pay more for better talent or adjust your hiring process altogether? Number 2, shake up your hiring systems. Perhaps the source or platform you've used to find people in the past isn't necessarily producing the quality of applicants you've seen. Maybe traditionally, maybe you've had really great experience or great luck on Indeed in the past, and you're not so much anymore. So maybe it's time to switch that up. Perhaps you aren't clear enough on your needs for the role, the specific characteristics of the employee, or the vision for your company in general. Think of your hiring process like online dating. You want to be very specific about what you're looking for. Can you imagine if you just put up a profile on a dating site saying, looking for a man? This is basically what you're doing when you're hiring for a position and not for people, right? Looking for a nurse. You guys, the more specific and detailed you are about the right fit and expectations, the more likely you are to attract and nail down that right person. And then number 3, finally, adjust your comp plan. While it may have been completely ridiculous to hire virtually in the past, it might not be so far-fetched today. Many aesthetic practices are bolstering their retail business. Perhaps having someone work virtually to manage that side of your business makes sense. Maybe it's answering phones or virtual consults or follow-ups, scheduling or customer service. With a flexible schedule, that becomes a win-win for your business and employee. Or perhaps it's allowing for more vacation time, and that will appeal to an overworked corporate employee that's ready to make a move for more autonomy and impact as an entrepreneur. I realize there's no cookie cutter answer here, but I do believe that is part of the fun of growing a business. And I challenge you, leader, turn your frustrations around this hiring trauma, frenzy, war going on into an opportunity and challenge yourself to get creative and take action in a new way. All right, leader, thanks for joining me today. Hey, be sure to join my resource mailing list if you haven't. If you're not on my list to get our updates and resources and guides every single week, head over to klcconsultants.com/join and sign on up. And have a fabulous week, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Fierce Factor. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you subscribe so you can automatically get new shows every week. I'd also love it if you left us a review. And come join the conversation online. If you're an aesthetic industry owner, operator, or leader, please join my free Facebook group, The Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders, a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals who collaborate and share best practices for growth in business and life. I'm honored you tuned in.